Oh. Morning, guys. Day 2. I woke up a couple hours ago, right at the crack of dawn. I guess I kind of overdid it yesterday, because it is now after 8 o'clock in the morning. And yeah. Oh, so it's time to get up, get started on the day. Dollar Tree brand coffee. Cafe Espresso Rosso. And that's all I brought for the week. That's all I brought. Probably be easier to just store it in a dry bag than to try to keep it in there. Doesn't smell like it's going to be great coffee. Yeah. First coffee of the camp. First time I've tried this probably not very good coffee from Dollar Tree. The wind is kind of a two-edged kind of sword. It helps keep the bugs down, but it's terrible for filament. Cheers, guys. Maybe I didn't put enough coffee in. Maybe it just... That doesn't taste like coffee. That don't taste right at all. No, I don't recommend it. Well, it's what we got. Oh. back, relax a little bit. And then I think what I'm going to do is I want to build sort of a shelf or some sort of a gear rack to help keep my stuff organized. I'll probably do that fairly soon. I'm going to have some of last night's dinner that's left over. I'm going to have that for breakfast, and yeah, I'm going to build a gear rack. Check this out, guys. I was going into my tent to get my hillbilly cologne, aka bug spray, and there is a dragonfly transitioning from nymph to adult on my tent, right at the door. So he's breaking out of his old skin. He'll leave behind a dry husk casing. Now this is the head of the husk, but the new dragonfly is hanging upside down. That's his head right there. Now, I'm a fair ways from the water. It's very unusual for them to crawl this far out of the water to do this, but pretty interesting for me anyway. So there is a door on the other side, but I'm not gonna wobble around and disturb him. I'm just gonna tough it out until he's done, and let him become a full adult dragonfly without me bothering him at all. So pretty cool. So it's probably an hour to an hour and a half later. And as you can see, the new dragonfly has completely escaped from his old casing. His wings have unfolded and he's almost dry. He's just about ready to fly off and be a dragonfly. Gathering up wood for my gear rack, I decided to take a little bit of a break, have another coffee, sort of beat the heat a little bit. Just running in and out of the bush with logs is hot work. The mosquitoes back there are crazy. And sitting in my chair, having my coffee, the smoke just constantly blowing at me. So I decided maybe I'd just sit out, sort of, view of the river, watch the wildlife. And I just sat on the rock because although that chair is great and very comfortable, it is a pain to move around. It is a bit of a pain. So I decided I'm going to make another chair. And although I have another one of those sling chairs in my pack, I'm not going to make that. I'm going to make a Viking chair. Because that's what my ancestors would have wanted. So, started off. I cut, about, 3.5, 4 feet. I notched them in the top and tied that together. Now I'm going to put the first support here. So I'm just notching in for the first support. I've got the first notch cut here. Now I've got the size of the notch that I need. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this many times. Just make a series of saw cuts. Alright, now I'll bring you in and show you what I did for those of you who haven't seen this. Okay, so as you can see, I've just cut a bunch of notches in. Now where's my hammer and stick? I just had, oh, right beside me here. Got my hammer and stick and my knife. Now, jobs like this is where this knife really excels, because I've been hammering it. I've been beating the tar out of it. I've even hit it with a rock to more or less do what I'm doing here. And solid. I love this knife. I really, really, really like this knife. Neaten that up a little tiny bit. This is not precision craftsmanship. It doesn't have to be. I'm not making it to take home with me. I'm not making it to last necessarily. So that's really all I need right there. Now I'm going to take my first support. And wait a minute, did it go this way, or I wonder. I can't remember. That looks about proper, actually. All right, now I'm going to notch this stick here as well, and then I'm going to tie it in. Got most of the main frame done. It's time to put the back legs on. See about there. Cut to that length and notch her in. Now for the back legs, I want to sort of notch them so they fit together and make a V out the front of the Viking chair, which is a perfect job for my new hatchet. Just got it. First time I'm using it. Check this out. Damascus steel. I hope you can see that well on camera, because yeah, there we are. I really like this hatchet. Now in the wintertime I'd obviously be carrying a proper axe, but in the summertime that's a lot of weight for something that you're probably not going to use that much. So the hatchet's perfect. Now, I got this at Bear's Den at the Gibraltar Trade Center in London, Ontario. If you are around the guy, he's got knives, he's got tons of Indian art and skins and just all kinds of cool stuff. Not to mention, he is just absolutely a super awesome guy. He's just absolutely epic. whenever I'm there, I usually stop in and say hi. And I mean, you know, occasionally I buy stuff. A lot of the times I don't. I just stop in to say hi. He's a really good guy. So if you're around the area, stop in, have a look. And no, I'm not advertising for him. He hasn't paid me, you know, anything at all to say this. I'm saying it because I like him. I really like the guy. It could be sharpened. All right. Yeah, I should probably sharpen this thing. It's not bad. It's not, for sharpness, it's not bad, but it could be sharper. So, something I'll do maybe later tonight. That ought to do it. Like I say, it does not have to be precision. It doesn't even have to be pretty. Notching in the final support, which basically goes right here. And then you just put some sticks down and tie them in, and that's your chair. This is the weight-bearing piece. This is the piece that is going to take the most stress on all of the chair. So it's got to be notched in really, really well. Once you have that properly notched in and secured into place, it's going to be able to take the weight of you sitting on it, no problem at all. It's just a matter of getting it all done up nice. Now once again, it doesn't necessarily have to be precision, but for this piece, it's got to be close. It's got to come in nice and snug. Okay, notch in that side, notch in that piece on both sides. And we'll have a chair with a back. I built the chair backwards. I don't know what I was thinking. It's hot. I don't know. in too much of a hurry, I guess. Okay, so the top pole main support sits in the back part of the chair, and that gives it support. The lower one sits in the front, and that just lets it sit at the height that you want. When you build it backwards, it doesn't stand at all. So, rather than tear the whole thing apart, I'm just gonna cut it here. It's probably not gonna work, but you never know until you try. Can't believe I did that. I mean, it's been a while, but oh. If anything, it's firewood, right? Okay. Moment of truth. Well, maybe. Well, the downside is, because the back supports are so short, these sit up on a pretty good angle. So it's not as comfortable as it could be like this. The good side is, because these angle forward, I don't need to make a seat. It's pretty much already there. Oh, I'm so glad that worked out. I've been working on this. I've been battling the bugs. There's been very little breeze coming through here. It's so hot. I'm glad this at least worked out. Now, as for the angle. If I do that, I could see that getting uncomfortable real quick. Helps the angle, does not help the hiney as far as how comfortable it is. Alright, so to all you new bushcrafters, and to me, future Dave, you dumb son of a... The top support in the back, the bottom support in the front. Otherwise it don't work, always. Oh. Alright. Now I have my sitting slash fishing chair, and then I have my by the campfire chair. Oh, and this is a whole lot easier to move around than the other one. So there we go. Oh, it's so hot, and I have a fire roaring. Whew. So it's, what do we got here? We're looking at probably 3:30 to 4:30, maybe 4 o'clock, we'll say. And I'm getting ready to start cooking dinner. So now that I got dinner, and I feel like I've redeemed myself a little bit, I'll tell this story. Earlier this morning, when I first got up, I went down to the river and I went fishing. And I caught a pike pretty quickly. I put it on the stringer, and I came up to gather up firewood and kind of whatever. Because although I have a lot of long-term fuel, I don't really have any of the phase 1, 2, and 3 fire starting. I have tinder and I have fuel, but I don't have phase 1, 2, and 3. So I put the fish on the stringer, and I kind of went about sort of doing whatever, firewood and, you know, cleaning up around the area a little bit and reorganizing things, you know, sort of whenever I needed a little bit of a break. And I figured I had enough, everything's good. In that time I saw, a cormorant, a lot of red-winged blackbirds, a lot of great blue heron. I heard turkey. There's wild turkey out here somewhere. Duck and geese, particularly mallard duck and Canada geese. If I had like a hunting license that covers like all of that stuff, I even heard a bear last night, so I heard it. It was sort of making some sounds and whatever, and I growled back and it left. So there's definitely enough around here game-wise if I had a hunting license that covered all of that and had several licenses. But lots of wildlife. I was enjoying that as I was gathering up firewood, doing whatever. And then I went down to sort of clean the fish and maybe have like a little bit of fish for breakfast. And I got there just in time to see a snapping turtle pull its head back down, eat the last of the fish, and leave. So there went my breakfast. So I put my line back in the water, but of course it was already too late in the day. Didn't get anything. So then I went about building that chair, gathering the material, doing, you know, just whatever with my day, and I figured maybe, just maybe, if I sat in that chair and was diligent enough, I might just be able to catch a pike so that I don't have to wait until near sundown to have dinner. And sure enough, a pike nailed my line. And just as I got it to shore, it got off the hook. But it was so tired out that it hung out right by the rock face. Now my net was not nearby, so I tried to grab it, and pike, obviously slimy, didn't get a hold of it. I got a hold of it, and it just slid right out. So I went and got my net, and I fished for a little while longer, and I got another pike. Roughly the same size as the one from yesterday, maybe just a little bit bigger. So I cleaned it all up, I got it all ready for cooking. And I'm also going to make my breakfast as well. So when I get up, I just reheat it, it should be fine. So there's a lesson there. Always be concerned about your next fire. Have your phase 1, 2, and 3 ready for your next fire. Like, don't put that off. So, stupid me. Now for dinner, obviously, a bunch of pike. For breakfast, I'm going to make some fish soup. So far, now, I haven't put any spices in it yet. There's my spice kit. I'm going to do that eventually, but so far I have some of the fish body, not a lot, that's all right there, but I have the fish head. Very important ingredient for fish soup is the head. Something you got to know about cooking fish heads into soup. Take the gills out. Nothing will make your soup taste like crap faster than gills. They're gross. They're no good. Don't want to do it. Also with pike, you also want to take out all the teeth. That means removing pretty much the entire lower jaw and most of the upper jaw as well. And before you put your pike in the water to start cooking, split it right in half. You want it to cook fairly well, and you want to get all that brain out of there. Also in there I have the heart and I have the liver. That's fairly important too. That's going to help, well, the liver especially is going to help to sort of break apart and start becoming a broth. I will probably put some of the fish meat in there as well, and if I catch another fish tonight, which I hope I do, I'll be putting that fish head in here along with some of the meat, and I will maybe have like a little snack before I go to bed and then save the rest of the meat for breakfast as well. So, always have my net nearby and always be concerned about my next fire. That's kind of the lesson of the day. Oh boy. All right. For the fish, I'll probably put some lemon pepper on it, maybe a little bit of steak spice, just to zazz it up a little bit, make it a little different from yesterday. The soup, I'll put in some onion powder. I think I have some summer savory. I have paprika in there and some onion powder. There's no wild leeks growing anywhere around here. I've looked everywhere. I can't find leeks. I haven't found any morels or anything like that. There's no marsh marigold. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of meat around here if, you know, you were in a real survival situation or if you had a proper licensing and whatnot. There's a fair bit of fish and, you know, whatever otherwise. As far as your greens go, not really a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. But, yeah, the fire is starting to turn to coals. I'm going to start cooking. Oh, boy. Mine are full. Admittedly, I wasn't super hungry to begin with. But, wow. I ate almost that whole pike. I had to throw like the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 bites into the soup. Whew. Boy, oh boy. I come out to do this 7-day wilderness living challenge. My mother reminds me that I'm almost 50. Tells me that I'm a nut, very affectionately. And just as I'm going, she gives me a hug, and she says, "You enjoy your 7-day starvation diet." And I'll tell you, I've been eating like a king out here. I'm sure after, you know, day 4 or 5 or, you know, whatever, I'll probably get a little sick and tired of pike. Bass isn't in season. There's no trout here, and oh man, I could really get in on some trout right about now. So, dishes are done. Breakfast is cooking. And I'll tell you, it looks good. Actually, I stirred it after probably 20 minutes on a good hard boil. I added a little more water. I stirred it up. Gave it a little lick of the spoon. That's going to be some good breakfast. Can't wait. Probably getting along 6-ish. There we go. Nothing to do now but relax and lounge and do nothing. Maybe fish a little bit. I don't know. And then maybe jump in the river, bath up a little bit, clean these clothes. Oh, I gotta string up a clothesline. But yeah, I'll clean these clothes. I do have a change of clothes. So, wash these, and while they're dry, and I got another pair to wear, and I just switch back and forth. So, yep. Nothing to do but chill out and relax. I've got a couple of pocket-sized books here. I have oh geez, I can't remember. It's the Bushcraft book, I think, by Morris Kohansky, but it's pocket edition. And I have Sun Tzu's Art of War, pocket edition. So, and a deck of cards. So, I don't know, maybe I'll kick back, read a little bit, and relax until bath time. And then probably call it a night. I won't film any of that, obviously, but except for the good night thing. I'll film a end of sequence of the day. Well, guys, day 2 is over. Holy boy, what a long day today was. Lots of fun. Got fish soup for breakfast tomorrow. Really looking forward to that. So I'm signing off, going to sleep. See you guys on day 3.